I'm closing in on one of my top comic book collecting goals with this comic book haul. Stay tuned as I reveal what books I've picked up next. Welcome back, comic book fans. It's Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and today I've got a good old-fashioned comic book haul for you. But I do have a theme with this, and it is that they are all CGC books that I've bought. Most of these are going to go into the PC. A few of them are going to be for sale, but we'll get right into it. Now, I've been getting these books. These CGC books are sitting right here over the last couple months, and I have not done a really decent comic book haul video like this in a while. We've been going through, catching up on some of my CGC unboxings, and right before that we had a lot of episodes coming from HeroesCon. So a lot of these books in this video, they've actually been sitting here for a while, and only one of them just came in recently, so I've kind of stockpiled them, waiting to be able to do a episode on all these together. So let's just get right into this. One of my major goals in comic book collecting I've set for myself is to get every issue from 108, X-Men 108, up to 143. These are the John Byrne issues that he did with Claremont, of course. One of those is a Dave Cochran issue, but I include it as well. In fact, I think I've got that in my video here today. So the goal is to get at least a 9.6, if not a 9.8. I'm very happy with the 9.6 because the majority from this run that I've got, and I'll go over which ones I still need and what I'm missing. One of them is a 9.8, but I'm really happy with that 9.6 because for the most part, at least the ones that aren't keys, you can get these relatively inexpensively at a 9.6, and in some cases you might even be able to maybe crack, repress, and maybe try for that 9.8. I don't know if I'm actually going to do that, but we'll go through some of these books today, and I've got several that go into this goal. It's a big goal of mine. So let's just start with the first book right here. This is issue number 108, the first John Byrne book right there. And it's funny, I had this book as a roll. I've got some of them in the shop to be cleaned and pressed. I actually haven't read it from the comic book. I've read it from some of the Marvel Masterworks books, but I wanted to do this John Byrne run at this high grade level like this. I think it's been a fun project. It's kind of kept me focused. It's the one goal that I have focused on over the last couple years, and it's been fun getting there. Sometimes I press and clean my own books for it, but in the most cases I've literally bought most of these as 9.6s, and relatively speaking I felt like I've gotten pretty good deals along the way. Not tremendous deals, but pretty good prices, and I think down the road I think the 9.6 values will jump back up at some point if I'm ever interested in selling them. But 108 was an eBay purchase. 9.6 starting off pretty good right there. And following that was issue 109, another eBay purchase. And this, of course, is the first appearance of, was it Vindicator? Is that right? Is that what he went by at that point? Well, it's technically, I guess, Weapon Alpha. They came looking for Wolverine, and they found a whole gaggle of mutant teenagers that basically kicked his ass. And a great issue. John Byrne doing Wolverine's one of the greatest things ever. This is a book that I will look to upgrade at some point. It is off-white, the white pages, whereas most of my books, without double checking, I'm pretty sure everything else is a white pager. So that may have knocked that price down a little bit. It's not that important to me. I love the 9.6 and it gets me in there. This is an expensive book if you try to get that 9.8. But this is one that I will try to continue picking up raws to try to get that 9.6 or 9.8 as well. But right now, 9.6, luckily the market is down. And prices on some of these bigger keys like this have dropped down as well into that reasonable purchase price range. So we got 109 right there, and we're just going to follow right up with 110. Now this is the one that I just picked up here in the last 2 weeks. Another eBay purchase. This is 110, and this is the Dave Cochran book right here. There is no John Byrne in this particular book, but I wanted to include it in this 9.6 run because it does fall in that range of 108 to 134. I know it's not John Byrne, but would have felt a little weird to just exclude this one issue in that consecutive run. But picked that up recently. Good price on that. And I was looking at this earlier. This is one of the ones I was looking at and going, I got to check the notes and see what it says, because that's a very nice book. And then the last X-Men book is 115. You got Sauron right there. The X-Men are in the Savage Land at this point. Great issue. Not a key. Let's see if it says. Yeah, Sauron, Khazar, Zabu, appearance. Great stuff. I actually already have this, but I go back to what I said earlier. Most of the books that I already have are white pages. Well, the reason I picked this up at, again, another reasonable price, was it is a white pager up here. So I will look to probably sell my other 9.6 that's off-white. I will try to move that and add those funds to the comic book hobby, basically. So those were the 4 X-Men. This was my major goal. And you may be asking, what else do you need in this run? Well, here it is. I need 120. I got it as an 8.5, but I need 120, the first appearance of Alpha Flight. 129, the first appearance of Kitty Pryde and Emma Frost. The first story, and really the first real story in the Dark Phoenix storyline. I've got a 9.4, and it's pretty good. I may have to check it out and see if it's actually pressable, see if I can eke out a 9.6 out of it. I don't know, but I do know that I've got at least one raw copy signed by Claremont that at some point I will have to make sure it's clean and pressed, and I may send that into CGC at some point. I just don't think it'll hit a 9.6. I think it will be close, but we'll see about that. I also need issue number 130, the first appearance of Dazzler. I have it right now as a 9.2, and I've got a couple of raw copies I got signed by Claremont. When I say I got these signed, they're raw copies that I took to Heroes Con. I will tell you, neither one of them will hit a 9.6 on that, but I may still go ahead and get them graded to turn around and offer it to the community. And then the last one, technically I don't have to do it. I've already got a 9.8, but the price is so good, I wouldn't mind selling it. It's funny for me to say I'd rather have a 9.6. A 9.8, sometimes the price on some of these X-Men burn books are so expensive that it's easy to basically part with it, because it's a good return on investment at that point. And that's issue 133, the first true, I guess, Wolverine solo story, or at least part of it. Great book. Again, part of the Dark Phoenix saga. I've got that 9.8 signed by Claremont. And I got a couple of more raws signed on that I will be going in as well to CGC. I don't think either one of them will hit a 9.6. I think they're going to hit a 9.2, 9.4 probably. But nonetheless, I don't necessarily have to replace that one. I've already got the 9.8. But if I sell it, I'm going to need it, right? So that's kind of the point. All right, so going on, that was the goal for the X-Men, and that was the whole reason for the video to begin with. But I had been picking up a few other things recently, and this right here, it's the second copy of this I had, and basically the price was really good, and I figured I'm going to go ahead. The prices have been dropping again, like I've been talking about. We've got SpiderMan 294, the whole run on this was a key for Craven's Last Hunt, and this was my favorite issue. You got my favorite cover. You got really good Mike Zeck doing Craven right there. Just absolute beautiful detail. It's one of my favorite runs. I last year ended up buying from eBay. I got this, not this particular one, but I got my first one. I got tired of cleaning and pressing copies that just weren't hitting those 9.8s. And the price had dropped down a year ago, and I thought it was a really good price. I picked it up. Well, this one popped up on Comic Link, and I was watching some auction prices on this, and it didn't go up that high. And I probably got this. I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but I probably paid anywhere from $75 to $100 less for this copy than I did the one a year ago. It just tells you where the market is on things. When I said my goal in this, I'm almost done with the Craven's Last Hunt. I've got the 2 Web of Spider-Mans 9.8s. I've got 294 here, of course. 293 I've already got. I've got issue 132 of Spectacular Spider-Man. It is a 9.8, but the one I'm missing is Spectacular Spider-Man number 131. It's difficult. I have lots of rolls on that, but with a almost entirely black cover, especially on the spine over here, it is really tough not to get a color-breaking spine tick, and I just have not been able to get there yet. And the price, actually, it's funny, they must know, the sellers must know that I want that issue because that price hasn't necessarily dropped down. It's, of course, it's the one that you want last or whatever that you can't get because now somebody out there knows Rusty wants that particular book and the price just hasn't dropped. Anyway, I picked up a second copy of that. That'll stay in the PC for a while as well, along with the other one. I mean, I'll part with one of them at some point. I'll see which one I like better. Well, one of those will go in eBay, in my eBay store at some point, I'm sure. All right, so that brings us down to the last two books. This was also another recent pickup, and it was extremely cheap. But I did it because I may end up giving it to my daughter, who is a huge Harley Quinn fan. And I had given her something similar a couple years ago. But let me just show you what it is. It is a facsimile of Batman Adventures 12, the first appearance of Harley Quinn. This is, of course, the facsimile reprinting of this. A true facsimile. Well, a few years ago, they had from DC a line of comics. It was Dollar Comics. It had a special banner right up here at the top. But it was the first, I think, the first reprinting of Batman Adventures 12. It wasn't technically, I guess I wouldn't include it as a facsimile because they did have additional art up here, but honestly, it was probably the first facsimile. And that, I got it as a 9.8. I actually cleaned and pressed it myself, sent it in, and I gave my daughter a copy of one of those 9.8s that she proudly puts on her wall. She's not getting a hold of my original Batman number 12, but this one, I guess this facsimile came out over the last couple months, and I ended up, they've been so cheap, I ended up buying this fairly, honestly, a little bit above case cost, honestly. If I had sent in a raw copy, I would have paid almost as much as I paid for this one that was already graded. So I picked this up. My daughter may get this. We'll see about that. And then lastly, it's a book that I'm going to look to add value to. I don't necessarily need it for my PC, but I thought for what it was a pretty good price. And if I add a certain writers and artist signatures on this, I will really increase the value on this. And I'm doing it sort of as an investment piece because I've already got the original first printing of this book. I didn't need it signed, but I got my 9.8. This is a second printing of this. It is Batman Dark Knight Returns #1. And sorry about the glare there. It's picking up the monitor right there. Let me turn it just a little bit. This is a second printing. It was a 9.8. My idea right now is the next time that Frank Miller does a signing at CGC, I'll send this in, have them crack it open, add that signature, hopefully keep that 9.8. It's better than going out there and finding raws on some of these books like this. It is a very tough book. That back cover right there, solid blue, and you can pick up any kind of defect so easily. Color rub, for me, has always been the biggest issue with the Dark Knight Returns series. I had copies from the time I was in college when the book was coming out, and I was picking up multiple copies of all 4 issues from Walden Books at the local mall, and I thought I did a really good job keeping them pristine, but over the course of time, just a little bit of rub on the back of the backing board caused some of them to definitely not be gradable, in my opinion. I did eke out 9.8s on issues 1, 3, and 4. Again, here was another goal, although this book doesn't necessarily fall into that. That was a goal that I've completed, getting all of them as 9.8s. But issues 1, 3, and 4 came from my PC from back in the day. I ended up having to buy an issue number 2. All of my copies had too much of a defect, and in going out and trying to find a really good copy started to become expensive too, because they just, honestly, I've had some that failed pre-screens. And anyway, I ended up buying a number 2 when that price kind of dropped as well, and finally completed that goal. But this isn't part of that goal. This is going to be to add Frank Miller at some point, maybe Klaus Jensen if they're at the same con, or doing a signing at CGC together. We'll see about that. Be curious to see. I know at one point I looked up and saw there was a pretty good price tag on a signed version, even if it's a printing number 2. It's an investment book for me right here. Return on investment, right? Anyway, guys, that is it for today. This is my CGC comic book haul for, honestly, the last couple months. They've just been stockpiling until I got a chance to do this video. I'm glad to be able to share it with you. If you enjoyed today's video, definitely give me a like, slap the subscribe, and click on that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the future shows that I put out each and every week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m. And definitely leave me a comment in the comment section below. Let me know about these books. Are these books that you want in your PC? Do you have them already? Let me know what you think by leaving me that comment. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a great day. I will see you for the next episode. Just remember, every comic has a story.